And Levy, I guess we can get started. I think obviously it's the first time that we hold any type of space or town hall since DG, and quite a lot has happened since DG. So it's already been like close to, I mean, it's been close to 3 months already. So no, 2 months. Yeah, time time is going crazy. So anyway, do you have some type of recap for everything that all of the events that happened since our DGE, the 31st of May?
Yeah, there's been a ton happening in the background. Also, we've pushed some pretty major updates, so we're squarely in what I like to call kind of like the evolution um, phase of the project, and that kind of started with V2 upgrade, which just brought a new, like not only obviously everyone's seen V2 now, it's a much more complete, professional, and refined platform, but it also came with some branding updates. And so that's been something we've been working on for a while, which was important. And it kind of sets the standard for our future product releases and is also just a really good foundation to build on. So already, like we've done a lot of updates since V2 has even come out, just based on a lot of the feedback and bugs that we found. We've done a lot of optimizations to the website, so things are loading faster. We're kind of continuing to do that. So pretty soon, we're kind of in the middle of that within the next, I'd say 2-3 weeks. V2 should be kind of like ironed out and in a really good state. And already the reception's been fantastic. And then some other things that we're kind of looking at closely is like features. So we are pushing hard on the solvers to kind of improve their product offering, right? With the instant closing being something that we're alpha testing. The reason we haven't pushed it to live yet, despite the instant closing working pretty well, is that one of our solvers, Perpetual Hub, doesn't support it yet. And because they're on the live version, we're kind of waiting for them to implement that feature. That way we can roll it out. And then, there's kind of like a unified trading experience. But that is something that we've been pushing really hard on the solvers for, is like get us instant open, get us instant close, improve the force close, improve the spreads, and those are all well underway. And in the meanwhile, we're working really hard to make sure everything's kind of ready to go on our end. Yeah, we also launched the market screener, which has been really well received. Also, I think that's probably some of the best like trader tooling of any exchange, and very happy with how it's come together. And I do think we have some of the most talented developers, in the space. So expect more kind of trader tooling like that to exist, and that especially becomes important as we expand our solvers, expand our markets, because we will inevitably have the most markets anywhere, like even of any centralized exchange. So really happy with that product, and yeah, likewise, feedback's been really really good on that as well. So overall, a lot has kind of like happened and developed on the product side. I've been happy about.
Yeah, definitely. Like we can see that. I mean, some people like things might look a little bit slow from the outside, and I mean, I definitely get where they're coming from. But there's a lot of work being happened in the background, and I think it's like Levy said before. It's sort of the evolution phase where we're in right now. We just need to spend this summer working on the product, and obviously in summer, most of the time, crypto is always pretty slow. People are vacationing, they're touching some grass, so it's the perfect time for us to really, you know, develop the foundation that we've already built, and sort of after summer, really go hard with hopefully instant open, instant close, and getting all of the features that we're working so hard towards, get them out, and then we can really spice up the marketing machine, so to say. We have a lot of fun stuff that we're working on, a lot of campaigns that should be going live once all of those features are live as well. So yeah, that's a pretty good recap, and I think now it's the time to look forward. So Levy, perhaps it's a good idea to sort of revisit the IntentX roadmap that we obviously published a while ago. Because we actually did already complete, we're super well on track. Like it's something that normally doesn't happen too much with roadmaps, but we're very well on track with everything that we've promised. And I think, yeah, let's look at the roadmap, see what we said we were gonna do, and what's already been done, and then what we're currently working on, and what the main things are that are now being developed and from the roadmap, and what sort of the grand vision is there.
Sure. Maybe first I'll touch on kind of how we're doing metrics wise. Maybe that's part of the recap that we should have done, but I think our where we're at now, like our trade volume has been really steady. Our revenues have been really steady. So I think we've kind of built some product market fit that's sticky, and we definitely have product differentiation in the perp deck space. So that's been really positive to see, even in maybe a somewhat slower period where our airdrop points kind of ran out, and for example, Mantle Blitz, the mini game that we had going, ran out as well. So some of our incentives that we had previously are kind of running out, but despite that, our user base is pretty sticky in the metrics that matter. Like open interest is still on an upward trend, which may be the best kind of indicator of usage, in my opinion, because it's unincentivized, right? Like nobody incentivizes open interest. That's pretty good, pure metric to look at. Daily active users have fallen off. I think that's somewhat attributed towards Mantle Blitz, where we were incentivizing kind of daily trading. Although, despite that, our volume, revenue, open interest hasn't really been affected. So I would guess most of those users were just kind of farming at MNT, which is okay. But we do have some more programs that are going to be coming back soon. So that's kind of the state of our platform. And like we touched on, a lot of the growth that is going to come is going to be through this product improvement. And I think we're kind of leading very strongly on the front end side in terms of where we're at now with V2. And like the solvers are kind of catching up quickly. We're also working on a multi-solver solution, which will be in MVP state by the end of the month. And yeah, I think the convergence of a few things like, instant open close, reduced spreads, new force close system, reduced withdrawal times, they're all going to come together in the next 2 to 3 months here. And at the same time, we're planning some really, really large incentives and marketing campaigns to kind of catalyze the next leg of growth. And those will be through some pretty large trading competitions with, very significant dollar sizes, upwards of $500,000 that we'll put up. So right now it's a matter of focusing on product to make sure that when we do bring the users that we can retain them, and cultivating kind of what we have now in terms of community and product. So that's kind of where we're at on metrics and where we're going. I do think that coming out of the summer, we'll be in a really, really strong position, and to fully kind of like utilize the advantages of SIM and the reason why we're building on SIM, which is really leveraging the solver network. So excited for that. And then in terms of roadmap, like actual deliverables, yeah, this kind of quarter is going to be focused on some of the social stuff that we've been working on in the background. So social trading features, that's all coming in terms of like P&L leaderboard. You'll be able to follow other people's trades actually. So you can actually, start to build some type of relationship or interaction with other traders on the platform, which I think is really important, where, traders add value to other traders, and that will, just create a really good community and user base and kind of build sticky users. So that's coming. Along with that will be the trading competitions that I mentioned, which we will kind of roll out in a few different ways. So we want to target kind of smaller users, we want to target bigger users, and there's going to be a lot of marketing that happens around those. And then lastly, yeah, the NFT collection. is on the horizon. Maybe Rens, you can touch on that a little bit. I'm sure people are interested. Definitely, I can't wait to get my NFT. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I can dive into that now. So I actually prepared it. I think we've already posted some previews here and there, but I want to just share a couple other ones. And let me just find it. The yes, all right. Let me know if you can see my screen. Levy.
yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. Yeah. So this image, I think we've shared it before, but I'm not sure. Either way, we've touched on the NFT collection just a little bit, and now that it's obviously coming more on the horizon, it's time to start teasing these things a little bit more, explain the grand division and what exactly the NFTs collection is going to be and what it's going to be used for. So we truly believe in, and this sort of all goes hand in hand with the social trading. So I'm sure maybe we can divulge a little bit more. Like Levy just mentioned, there's going to be a lot more personalization on the platform and a lot more socialization. So you're going to be able to have your own profile, follow other traders, and this all falls in line with your NFT collection. So this is basically going to be the face of you on the platform, and it's a fully customizable one. So this we're doing in partnership with Merkle. I don't know if some of them have heard about them. They've done multiple implementations with other uh, crypto platforms, and usually how these NFT collections work and how they're going to work for us is that it's you can see it more as a sort of battle pass. So obviously, most of all of the bigger games, they've all implemented some sort of battle pass, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's Call of Duty, or anything else. And it's basically you pay monthly. Obviously, you don't have to do it with us, but you pay a monthly fee and you can unlock all of these different attributes. You can do challenges, compete challenges, and get different things. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So everyone is going to be able to mint their own unique NFT, and we've really spent a lot of time developing these NFTs. And the ones that you see here are just the extremely basic ones. Basically, I think at the end we're going to be able to get like 30,000 unique NFTs, and that's just from baseline, not without any upgradability, which obviously comes through using IntentX, which is the main thing. So yeah, either way, they're very cool. We have these three different characters to begin with. So you have like the human, half human, half cyborg, and then full-on cyborg with different backgrounds, different armors, different headgear, different everything basically. And when you want to, spice up your social trading on IntentX, you can mint one of these at the start. We're gonna have some sort of whitelist, and we're not gonna just let everybody have one. So you obviously want to make sure that our community and our traders are the first ones who can start flexing these. There's obviously a lot of rarity involved, which is all pure luck. We have some cooler things that have a smaller chance of getting them, and then obviously some other things that look better. Either way, how we sort of want to do this is that you will be able to earn XP based on doing separate things on IntentX, whether it's trading volume, whether it has to do with the IntentX token, whether it's elsewhere. So even if you, for example, LP on Merchant Mo, you can earn XP that goes towards your NFT, and then once you level up, you earn different levels. You'll earn different attributes as well. And on top of that, we want to sort of also introduce these seasons, and the seasons are more like a battle pass where there's going to be different challenges that you can complete to earn XP or special items. And then also through all of the training competitions, we're going to do a lot of fun things with the NFTs as well. So you can think, for example, the winner of this training competition gets a special background that nobody else has, or a special character or a special attribute, to really induce this sort of scarcity and fun with the NFT collection. Like most of it is going to be fun, and there might also come unique benefits down the line, which obviously we're not gonna be talking too much about now. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I want to showcase this one where they're a little bit more dressed up, and this is gonna be what they actually look like when you, for example, mint one. So as you can see, there's a lot of different attributes at play here, and they all work interchangeably. So once you actually start collecting all of the different attributes. So you can have all of these three headgears once you level up, for example, and then it's up to you to sort of dress up your own character. So you can change the background if you obviously have it. You can change the armor, the headgear. You can change everything, and it will just look like your own NFT. So yeah, that's very simply what the NFT collection is, and obviously we're going to be releasing more and more down the line once it's actually going to be live. But you can definitely bet on IntentX to be, and all of the community members and all of the traders to be the first ones who actually get to own them. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good explanation for now. I don't want to divulge too much, but I think that's a nice preview for everyone here.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say from our perspective, obviously the NFTs aren't like a big focus of the project. You know, I'd say 99% of our efforts are focused on the actual perp decks, but the NFTs are a cool way that we can kind of like engage community, also reward them, right? Like we'll be doing some giveaways surrounding it. We'll be doing different competitions and stuff. So we really like that instrument, and like NFTs is kind of a community building tool. But also there'll be interactions with the actual platform itself, and some of the social stuff that we're building. So yeah, I think it's a nice piece that we'll definitely touch on more and reveal some more info over time. They are coming soon. Um, use Actually, something I missed talking on the roadmap about was the service front ends. So that's been
There we go.
a bit of an understated part of the project, I would say. And the strategy with the service front ends is really to offer broader distributions. So my, in our personal view is that Sim is kind of like it, and IntentX kind of in combination is going to be the ultimate kind of perp dex on chain. And um, you know, right now there's kind of a smaller on chain user base, but so it kind of looks like we're competing with order books, but looking at the longer term vision, it's not really a competition. Like I see IntentX as kind of the Amazon of perps, right? Like we're going to offer perpetuals from every solver, from every venue. And in that way, we're not competing with any one merchant. Like we're not competing with Hyperliquid, we're not competing with Binance. They'll all be integrated into what the solvers can offer. So I see a really larger vision for us. And the idea with the service front ends is to actually extend our distribution channels. So instead of IntentX being, just one perp dex out of many, the idea is we can tap into existing partners such as, bigger exchanges that are already established, like DeFi exchanges, new use cases actually that can leverage SIM and the actual perp trading platform, and run them as kind of affiliates, earning revenue from them, and having them distribute, having them market the product, and having them actually develop on top. So our strategy with like existing front ends has been kind of a trial and error, and we're figuring out the best method to approach it in. And I think we're a lot really quite selective with our partners that we're working with. There are two in the works right now that are pretty exciting for me. I can't really reveal too many details, but they'll both include, novel and new features and products, kind of on top of the perp decks. And they're also both kind of experienced, knowledgeable teams. So yeah, really excited about that. And kind of going forward, we're going to be a lot more intentional with our service front ends. But I do feel that it's really a good avenue for us. And another thing that we can tap into is Orbs, who's a strategic partner of ours. They run a spot, like an intent-based spot trading service to a bunch of top dexes like Sushi Swap, Pancake Swap, Quick Swap. So we're actually going to be collaborating with them on the distribution side. So we're quite excited about that and the potential of that. But of course, right now we're kind of in a product stage. Like we need to get the solvers up to a level where we can actually distribute through these tier 1 channels, but they are available to us. Then another feature actually that we're working on that isn't on the roadmap, so this is something that we've kind of gone above and beyond on, is a paper trading system, and we're tying in a few interesting features to actually make this more than just paper trading, but it'll give users an avenue to explore the platform, try it out, get a feel for it before actually depositing funds, which I think will help just educate people, get more people on the platform, and get more eyeballs. I see a question from Jazz. Why is only 20% of the service front end revenue shared with stakers? So, not sure if you mean gross or net, but we have a fee share agreement with the first service front ends, and that will be based on the volume generated. So the more volume they generate, the reduced fees they get. Though the revenue from the service front ends all counts as like protocol revenue and is distributed as the same as our revenue would, right? Same as IntentX revenue. Maybe some questions that we've had that are worth talking about. So one is the revision of our volume metrics. So previously, we were only counting taker volume, which would be the user, like the trader, not the solver. And we've kind of gone back and forth on this for a little while internally and with our partners, but we do feel that we need to count the maker volume, which is the solver, to level our platform and give accurate analytics. So for reference, on an order book, when you trade, there's a maker and a taker, and $1 of trade equals $2 of volume, which is actually the same way we operate, right? Because there's a live counterparty, like the solver is one half of the trade equation. So it makes sense to count their volume. In fact, with the current setup, the solver's hedging on an exchange, we were undercounting our volume by 3x. So it made sense, and it's something that we're kind of like, we rolled out, we'll be updating DeFi Llama with. Also, Sim agrees with our perspective, so Sim is upgrading their analytics to include solver volume. And it is possible that in the future we do charge fees on the solver as well. Right now they're 0. So that increase isn't reflected in the revenue, but it may in the future. And it's also similar to kind of an order book model where the maker has reduced fees or even a fee rebate in terms of like market making agreements. So that was the question that I saw in the chat. So nothing really, not trying to be sneaky about it. It's just we made a decision. That's how we should count the volume. And kind of Sim on an ecosystem level agrees with us also. So we'll make that change to kind of reflect better in the analytics if you look at DeFi Llama or others. Next, new chains. So we've kind of slowed down on the new chain integrations, although that is something that we could do in pretty quick time. We think there's better focus on actual core product right now. There's so many L2s, and we're reached out to or contacted by a new one or two every week. It's quite overwhelming, and what we've seen is actually that we would bring more value to these new chains than they would bring to us. So we're focusing on only the very best ones, and we don't want to get distracted. Some projects, they spend all of their development and marketing efforts deploying to new chains and chasing incentives, and never actually achieving like very deep and sustained product market fit on any one of those, just because they're not focusing on product, right? They're just focusing on short-term incentives. So we see that as kind of a losing game. Like, it's short-term and not sustainable. So that's kind of our chain strategy right now. We do have some planned integrations. So Arbitrum is one, and we have received a foundation grant from Arbitrum. So we do have some incentives once we deploy there. We're just waiting for the right moment. And we are talking to a few other chains, but again, focusing more on quality over quantity. And I think that'll serve us well long term, because definitely not all these L2s will be worthwhile in the end. And we wouldn't want to overinvest in any one of those particularly. Another question I had was, well, this is a big topic of discussion, which is USDT payouts to ex-IntentX stakers versus the buyback and distribute model. So I think obviously we kind of made the change from USDT distributions to buybacks. That was something that we kind of baked into the contracts to allow us to do and give us flexibility on. And that was largely to address, market conditions and, the market favoring liquidity over actually revenues. And it's really a tough kind of market to be in right now in terms of being kind of like a smaller DeFi project. It feels like DeFi went from faded, over the last, let's call it the early stage of this cycle, whatever, the last 6 months, to kind of like outright hated. And we kind of launched at a bad time at the start of the Bitcoin decline. So yeah, I think we haven't seen the full effect of the buybacks, right, in terms of creating the positive flywheel. Obviously, that's because there's more sellers than buyers, and doesn't matter what your tokenomics are, that leads to a decline in price. But nonetheless, the backing ratio gains have been really strong, and I'm happy to see that mechanism worked out. I think a lot of this kind of like initial airdrop supply is out of the way now, and the buybacks, they have been actually accumulating. I think there's been 680K in buybacks so far, which is almost 1% of this total supply of IntentX, or percent of circulating supply. It's around 6%, which is actually quite high in the first month and a half. So those are ongoing and continuing. I think that's a debate that will kind of go on forever, like buyback burn, USDT distributions. So what we're going to do pretty soon here, as soon as we kind of stabilize our growth and actually like start bringing in more revenue, is and grow the pie, is set up a snapshot so that the stakers themselves can actually vote for how they would like to see the value accrual, whether that's through buyback and distribute, whether that's through real yield revenue, let's say, or if it's a mix of them, right? It could be like a 50-50. Different projects have taken different approaches on that, and we're definitely open and flexible. But personally, I do feel that while the protocol is undervalued, like I feel we're really undervalued right now. The buybacks are quite powerful. But again, the biggest thing and the biggest focus on my end is growing the actual revenue itself. Because once we're at a steady flow of revenue of 25K upward daily, then we can decide how to best utilize it, right? But while we're kind of still in this growth stage and still early, it's less worth kind of like spending a lot of energy on.
Definitely. New question from Mr. Bagel. When does the trading discount end?
So this is on the BTC ETH pairs. I actually think that trade volume to some extent is inverse of the fees or the cost to trade. So like we've seen BTC and ETH volumes really surge after we applied the discount. And it is possible that, fees are 1/3, but the volume is 3x as large. So I don't think that like cranking up the fees, like I think it would actually drive away some of the volume. So that's just an interesting observation, something that like we're really conscious of. I think the biggest thing to look out for there is actually reduced spreads from the solvers. So as the solver spreads come down, we'll likely increase the fees. So that's probably going to be the next step. So we don't have like a set date for it. I think for now, it works really well in terms of like a promotional piece, and also just bringing new and interested users to our platform. And yeah, over time, as the spreads come down, we can increase our fees and capture more value.
Awesome. I see that if anybody by the way wants to come up, definitely just raise your hand. I see that the new type trader did. So let me see if I can get you up here if you're still down to speak. And just an invite. But anyway, anyone is allowed to just put up their hand and you can ask the question in person. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, awesome. You guys hear me okay?
Definitely. Welcome on board.
Awesome. Sweet. No, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'll be brief, but just want to say congrats again on launching this platform. It's been so far my favorite perp dex so far with all these perp dexes. The best thing I've really enjoyed is the funding heat map. I don't know, people have been calling it almost like the cheat code to trading, and it definitely kind of has been feeling like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with Levy with it. Everyone believing, or with him believing it's extremely undervalued. But with that, are there plans to add like more trading tools onto the platform, such as you may not be familiar with them, but there are other trading tools that traders use, such as Trading Light, Bookmap, Kingfisher, tools like that. I don't know if you guys have plans to maybe introduce some new, cheat codes, let's say.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, one of the developers we've onboarded is super experienced in building trader tools and has been kind of building them for many years now, including even some stuff that's been acquired by TradingView. So we're really lucky to have him, and he's kind of the one who took the lead on the market screener. So there's a ton of tools that we want to build out and that are kind of in queue right now, but they're a little bit more niche, and I think we're looking at investing into kind of like what do the most amount of people want, and kind of starting from the basics. So obviously the funding rate tools were like a big one that was requested, and then we'll kind of specialize from there on. But to answer your question, yes, we already have many ideas in mind, and we're also releasing kind of paper trading, which will be a sort of like playground environment for us to test some different tools, like what we can actually show on the UI. So yeah, I'm also
Awesome.
excited
Yeah,
for
just
that.
a quick follow up to that. With your comment earlier, with trying to be the Amazon of perp dexes, is there like a plan to maybe have to give more utility to the INTX token to be as like a payment to maybe, I don't know, unlock maybe a premium version of the platform to use some of these new tools, or do you plan to have these tools just be free for everyone?
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question. Also, something we thought of is again like a minimum INTX staked amount to access the tools. So absolutely, that's something that we're considering. But right now, we're at such an early stage that it's like, uh, we need to grow our user base by 10 to 100-fold, and then start introducing these elements. So you could think of right now as like early trial period.
We
But
have to,
yeah, the tools we're investing in are definitely worthwhile, and I see they're going to be, a good return on our time and investment.
we have to make everyone addicted first before we cut them off, and then there's incentive to obviously stake INTX.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'll step down.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Awesome. Is there anybody else who would like to jump on or have any question?
In the meanwhile, I saw a question about APIs. So that's actually one thing that our platform's been sorely lacking, is like APIs. So people who are trading with bots or some kind of automated strategies, which usually generate quite a bit of volume, like they haven't been on our platform yet, which is definitely something we're looking to target. And considering our current volume with no APIs, is actually pretty bullish. So the key thing here is, I mean, they can already build bots, like direct on-chain interactions, but we're waiting for these instant open and close from the solvers. That will really allow us to just build direct APIs for interaction. So yeah, it should be here soon.
Awesome. Perfect. If there's no other questions, and I think, yeah, it was a. Oh, I see Mr. Bagel typing again. And maybe there is another question, or there isn't. Anyway, while he's obviously typing, I already want to start by thanking everybody who's joined today. I think these are going to be fun to obviously do once a month, and perhaps if they're obviously super well received, we can even do them bi-weekly. But first off, we're obviously going to be starting with once a month, and yeah, it's just fun. It's a little bit more casual than your usual Twitter space, and we really encourage people to obviously come up and obviously ask us any questions and just talk with us. It's meant to be casual. So yeah, I think this was a good one. We just did a little recap, and I think everybody who joined here definitely got some alpha into what's coming and what's dropping soon. And yeah, the final question for Mr. Bagel, and then we can end it. Is I know that Pair is planning to launch soon. Do you plan to have a similar pair trading feature, or are you at all worried about Pair stealing market share as another sim front end?
That's a good question, and I'm really close with Huff at Pair, so we definitely don't have any competitive or whatever adversarial relationship. We're both super aligned on kind of sim being the future of perps, and that's pretty exciting. And we're both building in different avenues towards that end. So uh, I guess I'll answer this more broadly first, which is, there's other front ends that operate on sim and that will continue to operate. And it's always been kind of a question that I've received is like, well, how are you going to be different from other front ends? And I think that question, my answer to that question was always like, nobody's actually building on sim the way we are. And I think that's very evident at this point in terms of what we've delivered. Um, we've kind of been the first team to realize like the full potential of sim and go all in on it. And I think we're building that early advantage now that will last, the next decade. So I'm not really concerned about competition within the sim ecosystem. And actually, where I think sim is headed towards is it's going to be more specialized. So there might be, one front end that specializes in general purpose trading, which is what we hope to be and what we kind of are. Like we just want to be the best platform to come for a user to trade at, for professional, larger size traders to trade at. And then there's going to be, a whole bunch of different more niche applications of sim, one of which is, pair trading, which I think is a really great product that Pair is tackling. And I think they're going to do great at. Do we plan to have a similar pair trading feature? It's possible, but it's not our primary focus. So let's see if that's a product that is really in demand and users, want. We can implement, but we can kind of let Pair, trial that out and see how it goes. And there's going to be other, front ends offering different stuff. There might be one that offers some, type of funding rate strategies or some carry trade strategies and tools around that. There might be some that are more casino, like gamble, like SocialFi related front ends. And yeah, I think the experimentation is interesting. And we're in a position where we can actually learn and observe from what works in the market from the other front ends and kind of adopt the things that work if they fit our specific focus. So that's kind of how I see this developing. And it's also one of the reasons we took a service front end approach is it's actually with some of these partners we can collaborate with them and like, hey, if you want to build some specific product on top of sim, let us help you with our technology. we're not exactly competitors because you're offering some different product. That's generally the take. But yeah, our focus right now is still, there's still a huge amount of like improvements to be made, right, to the core trading. So we'll be the first front end with a multi-solver solution, and I actually think that's our kind of competitive edge in the long run.
Awesome. I see a thumbs up from Mr. Bagel. Probably means you did well answering that, which you did. Yeah, if there's... Oh, sorry, but I can't open IntentX app now. If there's any issues, feel free to obviously contact support and they'll help you. But yeah, I think I already said my piece in terms of remarks, final remarks and goodbyes. Definitely think everybody should be excited for what's coming. And the first few things obviously are the NFT collection, which we'll tease more about. The two service front ends are going to be something that's really cool. Obviously, we can't say too much yet, but the implementations are definitely something new and something special. Yeah, Levy, do you have anything else to say? Otherwise,
No, thank you all for joining. I see a lot of familiar faces here, so definitely appreciate all the support. And yeah, I think these will continue to grow over time, and really excited to start doing these and sharing some alpha. Probably the next one we'll be doing some type of giveaway at. So yeah.
awesome. Okay, then thanks everyone, and obviously thanks for joining. Any other questions? Feel free to just ask them in the general chat, and we'll always be there.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
See you all.
See you.
Bye bye.